The fastest way to upgrade a workshop starts with the battery you already own. Once you're in the Makita system, 25 other tools open up, including a few you'd never guess a power tool company builds. We went through hundreds of Amazon listings to find the ones people actually keep, and one of them will change how your whole workshop runs. Under $50, and it's probably the tool you'll reach for most. The DML815 takes the same 18V battery as everything else in your kit and turns it into a work light that runs for hours instead of dying halfway through a job. The head pivots, so you can aim it into a crawl space, under a dashboard, or up into a ceiling cavity without holding it awkwardly. Nearly 3,000 people have reviewed it. Almost nobody regrets it. Sawdust doesn't wait for you to fetch the shop vac. This one lives on a hook by the bench. Grab it, clean up, drop it back. The see-through canister empties in seconds with no bags to buy, and the wand shape handles floors as easily as a workbench. 5,000 reviews tell you how many people quietly rely on it, around $100, and it earns its spot daily. Nothing ruins a morning faster than a soft tire when you're already late. The DMP18CZ is one of the most bought Makita tools on Amazon, 12,000 reviews, and the reason is beautifully simple. Set your pressure on the backlit digital gauge, press go, and it shuts itself off at the target while you do something else. Car tires, bikes, wheelbarrows, basketballs. Roughly $100 keeps one in the trunk permanently. The first time it saves you in a dark parking lot, you'll understand the review count. Every kit starts somewhere, and this is the smartest place to begin. The XFD13Z is compact enough to work inside a cabinet, but the brushless motor still pushes 440 inch-pounds. Plenty for framing screws, plenty for hinges, plenty for whatever the weekend throws at you. 2 speeds let you swap between careful driving and fast drilling with a flick. Just over $100 for the bare tool, and twin LEDs kill the shadow your own hand casts. Start here, and everything else you buy simply plugs into the same battery. Cutting an outlet hole with a utility knife is how you end up patching drywall twice. This solves it properly. A brushless motor spinning at 32,000 RPM, plunging straight through up to 2 layered sheets and following your line without wandering. At under 4 pounds, you can hold it overhead through a whole ceiling run. Expect somewhere between $120 and $160. Electricians already swear by it. Everyone else discovers it the moment they cut their first clean box opening. Every other tool here cuts, drills, or fastens. This one just gets hot, 1,000 degrees hot. That covers shrink tubing on wiring, stripping old paint and varnish, softening tile adhesive, loosening stickers, bending plastic pipe, and thawing frozen plumbing in January. A lock-on trigger means you're not squeezing through a long job, and the nozzles let you aim the heat exactly where you want it. $200, and it handles a whole category of work nothing else in your kit touches. Concrete stops most drills dead. This one changes gear and keeps going. Flip the XPH4Z into hammer mode, and you get 31,500 blows per minute, alongside 1,250 inch-pounds of torque. Enough to punch anchor holes into brick and block without dragging out a corded machine. What surprises people is the size, 7 inches nose to tail, so it still works inside stud bays. Roughly $120, and it covers most of what anyone ever drills. 50 deck screws into a project, and most tools start complaining. This one hasn't warmed up yet. The XDT13Z packs 1,500 inch-pounds into a body just 5 inches long, so lag bolts and ledger boards sink flush without you throwing your weight behind it. 3,400 RPM and 3,600 impacts a minute make long screws vanish into timber. 4.8 stars across 1,300 reviews. About $100, and it's the tool most people buy second and wish they'd bought first. Swirl marks ruin more projects than bad cuts do. The XOB01Z avoids them with a genuinely random orbital pattern. The pad spins and wobbles at the same time, so it never traces the same path twice and never leaves those circular scars that show up the second you apply stain. 3 speeds, up to 11,000 orbits a minute, changed with a single touch. 3,000 reviews at 4.8 stars. Around $110, and your finished surfaces will show the difference immediately. Here's the part most people miss. The tools that change a workshop most are rarely the ones you'd guess. A power tool company making a fan sounds odd right up until August. 7 1/8 inches of blade, 3 speeds, and it oscillates 45 degrees on its own while you work. It tilts 90 degrees up and 45 down so you can aim it up at a ceiling. The timer shuts it off after 1, 2, or 4 hours. Same battery as your drill. Around $170, and it makes a hot garage bearable enough to actually finish what you started. Some tools get replaced every few years. This one has been on the market for 12 and still sells 500 units a month because nothing else solves what it solves. Flush cutting a door jamb for new flooring, removing old grout, trimming a pipe already fixed in place, plunging into a wall to repair. The oscillating head does all of it in spaces where a saw blade simply cannot go. More than 5,000 reviews at 4.8 stars, typically between 100 and 140, and it'll rescue you on the day nothing goes to plan. Routers look intimidating until you've used one for 10 minutes. Then you start rounding every sharp edge in the house. This compact model runs brushless, keeps its speed steady under load, and takes 1/4-inch bits for edge profiles, hinge mortises, dados, and inlays. Being cordless matters more here than almost anywhere else. You can walk around a fitted door and work the edge instead of wrestling a cable behind you. 2,000 reviews, 4.8 stars. Generally in the 120 to 150 bracket, and it makes rough work look properly finished. Curves are where cheap tools fall apart. Blade flex, wandering cuts, edges that need 20 minutes of sanding afterwards. The XVJ04Z's brushless motor holds its speed all the way through the cut, and the blade change is completely tool-free, no hex key hunting in your pocket. Cutting sink openings, scribing word tops to a wall, shaping shelf brackets, somewhere between $150 and $180 buys you cuts that look deliberate rather than improvised. Curved work stops being the part you dread. Demolition doesn't reward patience. When a wall has to come out or a nail-embedded joist needs to disappear, nothing else works like a recipe saw. It cuts wood, metal, plaster, and old plumbing without you changing tools between them. The XRJ04Z earned that reputation, 4.8 stars across 1,800 reviews. Variable speed lets you start slow, so the blade bites instead of skating across a pipe. Roughly 120 to 150, and it makes the ugliest job on the list feel almost satisfying. A grinder that binds mid-cut can wrench itself clean out of your hands. That single risk is why this one outsells almost everything Makita makes. It automatically adjusts torque and speed as the workload changes, so it never stalls under load. But the feature that really matters is the feedback sensor. If the wheel jams, the motor cuts out instantly rather than fighting you for control. That's a genuine safety difference, not a spec sheet line. Somewhere near $160 covers rebar, welds, rust, and tile. 3,000 reviews at 4.8 stars, and you can feel why the first time you use it. Sometimes you need material gone, not smoothed, a door that sticks every winter, reclaimed timber too thick for the space, rough stock that needs flattening before anything else can happen. The XPK01Z takes 3 1/4 inches wide and 5/64 deep in a single pass, with a 14,000 RPM motor and a twin carbide blade head that leaves a surface clean enough to finish straight off the tool. At around $190 and 7.5 pounds, you can run it along a hung door without ever lifting it off its hinges. That sticking door finally closes properly. Halfway through a site with dead power and a cold flask, this becomes the most popular tool in the van. Makita builds a coffee maker that runs on the same battery as your circular saw, and nearly 3,000 people have reviewed it. Fill it, drop in a battery, and you have hot coffee in a workshop with no kitchen, a garage mid-project, or a campsite at 6 in the morning. It takes pods or ground coffee, and it comes with a stainless mug that sits under the spout. Call it roughly $175. It's the least serious tool on this list and the one your crew will talk about most. Gas blowers are loud, temperamental, and always out of fuel on the one Saturday you need them. This one moves air at 120 miles an hour without a drop of it. The XVJ04Z runs two 18V batteries together for 36V of output, which is what gives it the punch of a machine you'd normally have to pull start. 6 speed settings mean you can ease off around flower beds and open it fully on a wet driveway. Fuel mixing becomes history. The cord disappears and it stays quiet enough for 8 on a Sunday morning. 4.7 stars across more than 700 reviews, around $235, and your fall weekends get considerably shorter. A stuck lug nut has ruined more mornings than any other single fastener. This is the tool that ends that argument permanently. The XWT08Z drives a half-inch square drive with high torque output, the kind that takes off wheel nuts a breaker bar won't move and handles suspension bolts, trailer hitches, and structural fixings without complaint. It's a different animal from the impact driver earlier that one drive screws, this one breaks things loose. 2,200 reviews at 4.8 stars, sold direct by Amazon. Expect somewhere between 220 and 270, and it belongs in the trunk of anyone who tows. For years, going cordless with the circular saw meant giving something up. Not here. Two 18V batteries combine for 36V, spinning a full-size 7¼ blade at 6,000 RPM, the same size and speed as a corded saw, which means the same depth of cut and the same confidence in wet timber. Automatic speed change technology feeds more torque in as the load climbs. Magnesium components keep the weight sensible, and an electric brake stops the blade the moment you release the trigger. Close to $255 for the bare tool, and it's the last extension cord you'll ever coil up. 5 to go, and each one takes a job you'd normally hire someone for. Anyone who's fought a cold tube of construction adhesive with a manual gun knows the exact moment your hand gives out. 1,100 pounds of dispensing force means that moment never arrives. This handles the thickest sealants without hesitating, and the 5-speed dial sets a flow rate up to 66 inches a minute, so your bead comes out even from the first squeeze to the last, instead of thin at the start and blobbed at the end. The barrel rotates a full 360 degrees for awkward angles. Around $310, and anyone who caulks for a living will understand instantly. Cutting metal usually means sparks, noise, and a burr you have to grind off afterwards. A portable bandsaw does none of that. The XVJ04Z shears through copper pipe, steel conduit, threaded rod, and angle iron with a clean, cool, almost quiet cut. No shower of sparks in a finished room, no scorched ends, no firewatch. Plumbers and electricians reach for these constantly, and once you've used one, an angle grinder feels crude. It's compact enough to hold one-handed against overhead pipework, and it sits at 4.8 stars. Around $330, and the messiest cut on any site becomes the tidiest. The hammer drill earlier will get you through brick. This is what you use when brick isn't the problem. An SDS Plus rotary hammer works completely differently. A piston drives the bit forward rather than the whole chuck vibrating, so it chews through poured concrete, block, and stone at a speed that makes a standard hammer drill look like it's asking permission. 1-inch capacity covers anchor bolts, ductwork penetrations, handrail posts, and rebar, adjacent work. It carries an overall pick badge at 4.7 stars. Around $350, and the first afternoon you sink a dozen anchors into a foundation wall, the price stops being a question entirely. A standard circular saw cuts where you steer it. A track saw cuts exactly where the rail says every time, with a splinter-free edge on both sides of the blade. Drop a full sheet of plywood on the floor, lay the track on your line, and plunge, a factory straight cut with no table saw, no assistant, and no wrestling sheet goods across a bench. Around $470, and it turns chic goods from the worst job in the shop into the easiest. A cordless miter saw sounds like a compromise until you carry one to the far corner of a property and start cutting. The XSL05Z is dual bevel, so it tilts both directions and you never flip a board to cut the opposite angle, a genuine time saver on crown molding and baseboard. A laser line shows exactly where the blade will land before you commit, which removes the guesswork that ruins expensive trim. 6.5 inches is deliberately compact, light enough to carry into an attic, capable enough for the trim work most people actually do. At around $670, it's the biggest investment here, and the first time you make a perfect miter cut in the middle of a field with nothing plugged in, you'll understand why it tops the list. 25 tools, 1 battery system, and a few you didn't know existed. Tell me below which one's going in your kit first, and if this saved you some research, drop a like and subscribe. Now go put that battery to work.